Hello, everyone, and welcome in to another episode of the Fastball Sports Network WWE podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about TLC, everything tables, ladders, and chairs. Mark, excitement for this pay-per-view? Give it like a 1 to 10.
Like a 4.
Okay, yeah. I think I'm a little bit more excited than you, but not much. I'll give it a 5. Listen, I don't ever blame them for the December pay-per-view. You just got done with Survivor Series, one of your big four. You're headed into the Royal Rumble. You've got the holiday season in full bloom, by the way. Happy Hanukkah to anyone celebrating the 8 crazy nights of Hanukkah. Yeah, so there's like a lot going on, so I never blame them for a bad December pay-per-view, but it does kind of stink that it's TLC, which like has potential to be so good, but like always kind of gets thrown in the mix of like, oh, well, we can't really change titles right now because that's for the Royal Rumble, you know?
No, I don't blame them. It's just with the exception of Kevin Owens and Roman, there's no interesting storyline here at all, like on either show.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, like
not the one in the back here.
I could not be less interested in who the mystery partner is for Asuka.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll go over that. Let us first start, though, with our new segment that we implemented last week. Who is going to win the Royal Rumble? Mark, last week you said?
Daniel Bryan?
Trying to remember.
Daniel Bryan?
Say Daniel.
Okay.
Are you staying with Daniel Bryan? And if so, or if not, why?
I'll stick with DB for now.
Why?
Nothing's happened in the last week that makes me go off of that.
Okay. I think I'm also going to stick with my prediction.
Adam Cole.
Here's the thing. So, yeah, mine was Adam Cole. Thank you. I was just not going to tell him. Here's the thing with these predictions now. So we saw that tweet yesterday talking about WWE's creative and how they're not happy with the low Raw ratings. So it's possible everything that they had planned could be thrown out. I don't think they'll do it, but like it is possible that they start like panicking and change everything. So all those rumors that we saw, Daniel Bryan, Big E, there are others, but I'm blanking right now, could just get completely like switched up and changed. So it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do with the Royal Rumble and the new rumors we'll be hearing, but I don't think we've heard any new rumors, right? You haven't seen anything. I haven't heard anything.
Not lately, no.
Yeah, no. So basically, this is a short segment this week. We're going to just keep it the same. But we still have 2 more weeks left in December, and then we are in full bloom of the Royal Rumble. I'm sure Monday's promos are usually pretty good. The first Raw on the way to Royal Rumble. So we'll see if somebody can like spark or pique our interest there next week. But without further ado, we will head right in to TLC to our predictions. First, we're going to start off with some matches that might happen, might not happen. We're not really sure right now. They're not complete. They're not announced. They could show up in the pre-show. They could not show up at all. They could be very good. These 3 that I'm looking at. The first one is Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso. Jey Uso got the clean win over DB on the build-up to Survivor Series. So that was a nice little push for him. Do you think DB gets even on Sunday at TLC?
Probably not. I think DB.
If it happens.
I think DB probably sits this one out. They wouldn't put that on the pre-show. They wouldn't put Daniel Bryan on the pre-show ever. So I don't think it makes sense to just like throw this match together unless I guess they do have Friday, right? They can set up a stage on Friday. Maybe it's like I want to fight you one-on-one. But
these matches don't necessarily have to be pre-show matches. I was just saying that this could be where they appear. They usually haven't really announced the pre-show match. I mean, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But yeah, I agree. This wouldn't be a pre-show match. If it does happen, I think Daniel Bryan wins. I'll say that.
I think there's a better chance that DB like comes out for the save for Kevin Owens than he does fighting Uso.
Yeah. But the next one I think is probably going to happen, and it's the United States Championship match. Bobby Lashley versus Riddle. it'll be interesting to see how this match goes down. Will it be a TLC match? Maybe just a tables match? Maybe just a chairs match? I hate when they do just chairs matches.
Yeah.
I get it on the pay-per-view because you have some matches that are just chairs matches. I mean, some matches that are just tables matches, some matches that are just ladder matches. But just chairs matches are brutal. I think back to the one with the Big Show and Sheamus with the extra large chair, and it was just
That was so bad.
it was just a nightmare to get through. Yeah, so I hope it's not just a chairs match, and I hope they've scrapped that. I don't think they've done it in a few years, so that's good. But if this match happens, which I feel like it's probably likely to happen.
It's so weird though that it's not official already.
Yeah, no. Again, use the CBS WWE website. They usually have predicted matches every time. They're great. You should definitely take a look if you want like a prediction. They usually have like who they think is going to win, what matches they think are going to happen. Again, we're recording this on Wednesday, the Wednesday before TLC. So we haven't seen the go home for Friday Night SmackDown, but that shouldn't affect this match at all, Lashley versus Riddle. I think if it happens, I think Riddle should win. I don't know. I think Riddle should just win. Lashley won't be hurt by the loss at this point. The Hurt Business won't be hurt by the loss. I think the Hurt Business is about to pick up another win, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, I think Riddle should win.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense that Riddle would win. But I fear with Riddle, they're already leaning way too heavily into the comedy side of him, where he is funny, but I think it's better in more of like a natural sense where he's also serious. Like he had like these really good matches with Sheamus. He had these really good matches like with AJ and Keith Lee, these big matches. And then the next week he kind of like really toned it down. It was really silly. He was like joking around with Jeff Hardy, which is fine. Like I'm fine. I'm all for the humor. I think he's really funny, but I fear that they view him in a light of like a comedy mid-card act, which I think he's a lot better than.
Right. I also am afraid that he's going to fall into that. But what did make me, kind of not worry for now is he did squash MVP in like a 2-minute match. So they clearly have him, at wrestling ability above MVP a good amount to just be like, all right, go in there, 2-minute match, kill him. So that's good news. I think this is ultimately building towards this feud. Bobby Lashley needs to be in the main event picture. I'm not saying he needs to win the main title, but I think for me to take the Hurt Business really seriously, we need Bobby Lashley to be at least like trying to capture the WWE Championship.
But like, if he's not going to win, then why have him go through the chase and lower his value?
Well, I think once Drew McIntyre loses the belt, there's no reason Bobby Lashley can't beat The Miz, for the WWE Championship.
That is not a compelling feud.
I'm not saying it's going to be a compelling feud. I'm just saying there's no reason it can't happen,
I just don't think there's a scenario where I'm excited to watch a Bobby Lashley world title feud right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But again, we don't know what the feud will be. So, again, a lot can change in the WWE in months. And he's not going to win the Royal Rumble. I think that, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't really know. I don't think he's going to win the Royal Rumble. So that probably puts him out of the picture until after, April. And then from there, who knows? Maybe we get 3 superstar shakeups from then till now, and he's on SmackDown, and then he's back on Raw, and then he's back on SmackDown. You never know. So, but yeah, I don't know what the plan with Bobby Lashley is. Are we just gonna keep the United States Championship on him like forever? I don't know.
And even that, at a point, it comes kind of like enough's enough. Like he's built up to this high standard, and that's fine. Like he's done a really good job building him up to be this force, but it's like at some point the U.S. title becomes wasted just by sitting on his shoulder because it's a title that's not really ever being used. It's not really defended that much, and there are different guys who could really use a boost with that title that Lashley doesn't need.
Yeah, I really like what Sami Zayn's doing on SmackDown right now. He's attempting to elevate the Intercontinental Championship. Like, yeah, he's doing it in like a funny way where he kind of, weasels his way to every win, but everything he does is about the Intercontinental Championship. Where Lashley, it's not really about the United States Championship. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that belt being on Lashley has been better for it than it has been in a while. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anyone's like, he's still doing things for the belt by being as dominant as he is and defending it when he does. But you're right. It could be a little bit more about the United States Championship.
Who's
Like,
he? Who's he
this
feuded
guy.
with?
Who?
Lashley for the U.S. title. I'm trying to think. Like, who is he like?
It's Riddle right now.
I know right now. I'm saying in general. Like, who has he fought for the U.S. title?
Well, I mean, he won it from Apollo Crews.
Well, I mean, like Ricochet once or twice. Like, who else has he fought?
He beat Ricochet. I believe you're right. I'm
Maybe
sure
like,
there's someone forgetting.
maybe like Cedric, but like, how has he not had like a real feud yet for that? Besides before Riddle, I don't know.
Well, I know. Okay, Survivor. Yeah, you're right. I can't
It's
think
like
back.
no
I'm
one.
sure there's something we're missing, but yeah, that's the problem with having that title on him. You just want somebody that grabs the title and like loves to have it. Making those titles matter would be huge for WWE. Like I said, Sami Zayn's doing a good job. Where it's like, oh, I want to see someone actually take the Intercontinental Championship off of Sami Zayn because he's such a weasel. Even though I don't like that's the message that he's kind of sending, that he cares about that title. That's clear, and he'll do whatever it takes. He's this master manipulator who'll do whatever it takes to retain the Intercontinental Championship. So I'd like to see Riddle maybe be the face version of that and really embrace the United States Championship. I don't think we've had a good United States champion since John Cena. The second time. The United States Challenge was like the best.
Was Jericho before or after? Jericho was after Cena, right?
Oh, that's right. Jericho was excellent when he was doing his thing with Kevin Owens, and again made that title important. So, yeah. But we will move on. The last one, not completely announced, but I think it will be announced on Friday. The SmackDown Tag Team Championship, the Street Profits versus Dolph Ziggler and Rob Roode.
This is the biggest problem with the December pay-per-views. Like you said earlier, you don't blame them, but like put more of an effort. Like we don't need this. Like this does nothing for any. It's like come on, it gets to a point where I get it. You don't want to give like a good team a loss, but like make it Otis and Gable, who they're like kind of pairing together. Who like I have somewhat interest in where that goes. Like I know why they don't want to give them a loss, but like at least that's compelling for me. Like I like Dolph a lot, but like. It doesn't matter when he has these random tag matches or U.S. title matches or world title match. He's going to lose. Like he's credible. He puts on a great match, but like it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree. I guess I think that there's a chance that this title changes hands, but if they do it right, it should stay with the Profits.
Didn't Dolph win the go home? He like pinned Montez Ford. I think that happened.
I actually missed SmackDown this Friday.
I think Dolph pinned Montez Ford, and I was like, oh, okay, that's something. So. I mean, I guess they're trying to make us think that they have a shot, but I don't see it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, listen, Dolph deserves a one-on-one win against Montez Ford as it stands right now.
If they pull the trigger on them losing the belts now to Ziggler,
that would be bad.
After beating the New Day last month, that'd be like catastrophically bad.
That would be bad. I agree. Interesting to note because you talked about Gable. WWE creative asked, or the officials asked creative to make a list of talents they think are underutilized in the company and could be big names. And I wish I saved the tweet. The names that came up were Chad Gable, Antonio Cesaro. He's not Antonio anymore. Just Cesaro, excuse me. I don't know if Gable's Chad Gable anymore. Did they drop everyone's first names?
Yes, Gable. Maybe he's Chad Gable.
Yeah, he's just Gable and just Cesaro. Peyton Royce was on the list.
You sure this is a real list or just like an internet fan darling list?
No. This was the real list. Now I want to see it.
This is literally like all the people that everyone just complains about on Twitter that don't get enough love.
I really want to see if I could find it now. Because it was like a really good it was just like a
I mean, yeah, that's fine, that's great, but like, is anything gonna change here? It's like, oh, now we know everyone who is underutilized. Like,
I mean, it's good to know that the writers want to use these people, right? Like, it's good to know that the writers want these people that the internet seems to. Well, it's not on them. Like, I think okay, the bad storylines, that's on the writers, right? But the people that get to be in their storylines are not on the writers. You know what I mean? Like, they are told, write a story for
Yeah, but you
McIntyre.
come
And
up with a good story that involves Peyton Royce and you pitch it to Vince. Vince will be like, this is a good story. Let's do it.
yeah, I mean, like I definitely see that being able. I'm not gonna be able to find this.
Instead, they're like, hey, let's do the
Shoot.
same thing every week where like Miz and Morrison walk out and like distract Drew and like they all get claymore and then like AJ does something and he gets claimed. It's like the same thing every single week. I can't like dude, try something different. Like Raw is terrible. Raw's not watchable. Try something different.
Yeah, I mean, there were 4 names on the list. Peyton Royce was one of them. Uh, Gable was one of them. Cesaro was one of them. They all made different lists and they all had different people on it. But those 4 names came up nearly every time. And I forget. There's one other female superstar that was on that list.
Was it Lacey?
It was not Lacey Evans. I'm trying to remember who it was.
I don't really. I'm not crazy about Cesaro. Like, that's been like literally years where everyone's been saying that. Everyone's been like he should be champion, and like he never did it for me. I think those other people are great, and they all deserve like a really good shot. He's been around forever, and he's been prominent. Like I don't think he needs more than he's gotten.
Cesaro's one of those guys where he could definitely thrive, and every once in a while challenge for the main event championship. He could be a transitional champion for a month or two, feel good story if you want to do it. But you're right. I don't see him holding down a top spot for like a very long time. I don't think he's good enough in his promo work to hold down a top spot. But I mean, like that's just us. You know, I guess other people value more than us. I know we value storytelling, you know, mostly over everything. Both you and I. You always talk about congruency and making sure
Continuity
things
is my
fit
big
in.
thing.
Yeah, continuity. Making sure things that fit into the storyline. I know that I love a good promo. I think that will fire me up more than anything. So yeah, I mean, we always value storytelling, and Cesaro just that aspect is definitely his weakest aspect in the ring. That being said, I don't think he's completely incapable. I just don't know if he can hold down a top spot. Like I don't know if he could tell the story that Roman Reigns is telling right now. You know,
Definitely not. No.
but Roman is doing such a great job. I don't know if Cesaro is capable of that. But we will continue. The first actual match we know, again, those 3 matches before we were just talking about, they think they're going to happen. We're not sure if they're actually going to happen. I can see Daniel Bryan match not happening. The other 2 I think will probably happen. But the first match that we know is definitely going to happen, and that is the Raw Tag Team Championships, The New Day versus the Hurt Business. Now, I think out of all of these matches, this one has all of the championship matches, this one has the best chance of changing hands. They've kind of teased the Hurt Business could do this, but we know they love the New Day, so this is kind of 50-50 to me. Go ahead. I'll let you go.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised this match is happening because the New Day already beat them like twice or 3 times. Like, I know Cedric got a win back on Kofi last week in like a singles match, which is fine. Cedric's really cool, but even this, where it's like, I agree with you. I think Hurt Business is going to win. I think this is probably a good time to take it off the New Day. I don't think Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander are the 2 guys that should do it. I think you can find 2 different. Like I like Cedric a lot, but Shelton's like, and I'm not like he still works well, but Cedric's like 45. Like we don't need to give these belts to them right now. I know like maybe if Lashley wants to drop it, establish more credibility to their group, but like it's just, I think we can do better than this.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying on the surface. My thing is, I look at the losers. I look at the New Day, the team that I think is probably going to lose, and I go, are they hurt by this? The answer is always no. You know, at this point, like they're such an established group. This doesn't kill them. I guess technically it does build up the Hurt Business. You know, so
But yeah, on the flip
if
side,
they're not hurt,
would you say that Cedric
what
and
were you gonna
Shelton
say?
are? Would you say Shelton and Cedric are that much like boosted by this? I feel like they're not. Like it's like, oh, that's good.
I think having the tag team titles, as long as Cedric is the one that gets the win, you know, as long as Cedric is the one that looks great and gets the win, he's the main piece here. They're not going to be champions forever. Like this is not an established tag team. They're going to be champions forever. I think that he does get a boost from this. Listen, Shelton is what he is, and he's doing a great job in his role right now. He's just like I'd like to see more of like a mentor role from him because like there's such an age gap, like you said, between the 2 of them. We've seen Shelton Benjamin on our TVs forever. You know, obviously he went away for a little while, but you know, we saw him in 2004, 2005. You know, like when did he debut?
Yeah.
So I'd like to see him in a little bit more of a mentor role. You know, to Cedric. It just doesn't feel like they're doing that right. You know what I mean? Like he's clearly the elder statesman of the 2. And like
Yeah.
when Ric Flair and Batista won the tag team titles, I know it's not the same. Evolution was obviously like one of the greatest groups of all time. Rick was constantly talking to Orton, constantly talking to Batista. Hey,
Yeah.
you know, even though Triple H was the leader of the group, Rick was the elder statesman of the group. He was the one telling, Shelton Benjamin and MVP are these elder statesmen. MVP does a good job with like the business side of things, but someone needs to teach, Cedric like the little in-ring things. I don't know. I just don't think they're using them the right way.
What would add intrigue for me? What would make me interested in this match? If they cut a promo beforehand or like a backstage segment, and like MVP went up to Shelton and was like, "Yo, we're gonna put Lashley in this match. We're gonna put Lashley with Cedric. Like we're really pulling out the guns. We want to win this match." I'd be more invested if it was Lashley and Cedric.
That would be interesting. I think that would just open the door for the group to fall apart early, though, right? Because like Shelton would have to be angry, right? Shelton wouldn't just be okay with that.
Well, he's
right?
always wearing you could tease like a little like angst or whatever, but that's the other thing where like if they took out Shelton and added someone else in, then it's fine. Like, I think Cedric.
Who are they gonna add in?
I don't know. I don't think Cedric is going to be in for a crazy amount of time. I think
they're already teasing like a rift between them.
I think he's going to eventually break away. I don't know when that is, and I mean Shelton's not going to be around forever. That's just the reality of the situation. Where I don't know who they're going to bring in. Like that's up to them. I'm sure they'll mess it up. I'm sure they'll bring in some guys that we don't care about. But like
that's if the stable is still going on.
If the stable even continues. But I don't know. As long as you have MVP and Lashley, you have credibility. So I think the undermining guys don't really, really matter as long as they're.
I think another point of this stable is it got off to a really hot start and just has not been good since for like a little while now. So they need to do something to kind of like prop them back up.
Yeah, I mean they were really hot. Then they fought Lashley and Apollo every single day for 6 months, and then they really cooled off.
Yeah. And then Retribution.
And then the Retribution stuff, which I'm sure was supposed to make them look great, but it just ultimately made Retribution look bad. It's tough.
All right, let's move on. We have the Women's Tag Team Championship match, which is Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, the current Tag Team Champions, versus Asuka, the current Raw Tag Team Champion, and a partner to be announced later. Who's the partner, Mark? Who's it going to be?
Mandy. Dana, like just like whoever the most.
Mandy and Dana are already a tag team.
Yeah,
do you think they're just going to throw one of them out there?
Does it matter? Like,
I think it matters like a little bit.
So they're doing this thing with the mystery partner, and like it's usually like I don't know, like a farce, like watch so you can see who it is, and it's like no, it's like oh okay. I think the only scenario I pop here is Naomi.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only scenario because it's either. It's either I truly think it's going to be either Mandy or Dana, and they're going to play it off like a big surprise. Like, oh, it's Mandy Rose. It's going to team with Asuka. And I'm just going to sit there like, okay, and then like
she came in and attacked them on Monday. This is special.
And then Graves will be like, oh, they have history together. This is great for Asuka. Like it'll be some nonsensical storyline, or it's going to be like, they'll just put Lacey with her, or Peyton Royce, or Nikki Cross, which like they're all great, but like. They're all on the roster. Like to call it a surprise is either Charlotte or Naomi. And if they bring Charlotte back here, that is terrible.
So the other person, there is one other person. Sonya Deville is done with her court case. She was a heel when she left. This is kind of a face return, so I don't know if I actually see it, but it's definitely a name that I think they could just throw. She was forced to leave SmackDown. So showing up on Raw seems like the logical next step.
You put her back with Mandy then, though. They're on the same show.
Yeah, I mean, like that could be a rivalry continued, especially because if they win the tag team championships, she's with Dana now. So you could be like, she'll stab you in the back and like all that stuff with Mandy. Could be funny. But
she'd be better than the other options for sure.
I like Naomi for sure. I think that would be really cool. Charlotte. You've said would be a waste. I think I tend to agree. I'd rather just see Charlotte. I mean, listen, a Charlotte return is inevitable. It's coming before the Royal Rumble or at the Royal Rumble.
This would be devastating. To bring Charlotte back in this spot here would be detrimental to the WWE. They should pack up and leave if this is where they bring back Charlotte.
I think you're over. I'd
be disgusted.
Like a tad bit. I think you're overreacting.
That'd be so bad. That'd be unbelievably bad. At this point, wait till the Rumble and have her enter the Rumble. Like that's like.
Well, what if the storyline is they're tag team champions, but Charlotte
That's
wants
the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
The Raw Championship?
And they might do it because Charlotte doesn't have a tag title yet, right? They probably want to get Charlotte a tag title. Like they might do it, but like that'd be the worst thing to ever happen.
If it's Charlotte, and then they do the Sasha Banks Bailey storyline, only without them ever being friends for the WrestleMania after Charlotte wins the Rumble. So they're both tag team champions, and then Charlotte wins the Women's Royal Rumble again, and then
I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to think about this scenario. I don't even want this in my head. I don't even want this into the universe.
All right, so I'm hoping it's Naomi or Sonya, and not Charlotte, and actually surprised because Naomi's music hits, and like I guess we're not super surprised, but we're just like, good.
I pop. It's like Naomi's back. That's really important. They need her badly. Like that's good.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's just move on from that mess to another mess. But actually, this is not a mess at all. The builds for this feud has been some of the best storytelling WWE has done without a championship in a while. That's The Fiend versus Randy Orton. Randy Orton, a pyromaniac, tried to burn Bray Wyatt alive. Out comes The Fiend. Randy Orton tried to burn Bray Wyatt's compound down a few years ago. Randy Orton tried to burn The Undertaker alive like 6 times. Randy Orton loves fire. Loves fire.
That's his thing, yeah.
What do you think about this match?
I mean, The Fiend better win, right? Like that's kind of I'm not gonna say he has to win because like it's Randy, but like you can't really have The Fiend take losses. Like we're building him back up after Goldberg. Like you can't have The Fiend lose.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Who's the babyface in this feud?
It's The Fiend. It's Bray Wyatt. Randy put him in a box and set it on fire on Raw. It's The Fiend. It's not even like close either.
Alexa Bliss noticeably absent on Monday, but yeah, I agree with you.
I've been 2 weeks in a row now, right? She's been gone.
I think she was there last week, right? I don't remember. Okay, but either way, I agree with you. The Fiend has to win. The Fiend has to win. He should win. But you're right. It's Randy Orton. You know, if he goes over, wouldn't be that surprising. But yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot to say on this match. You know, there's not really a lot. The build's been great. I've been entertained. I'm excited to watch the actual match. I think they've had obviously good chemistry in the past. Randy seems to just be hitting on every single person he's working with at this point. So yeah, this should be another great match. And if it's done right, the Fiend should win. I think Randy will be fine, even though he's taken a few consecutive losses. I think Randy will be fine.
Yeah, obviously it doesn't matter if Randy loses ever. At this point, he can lose 100 times in a row. It doesn't matter. So, give it The Fiend.
All right, next we have a match that should be interesting, should be fun, given the talents of the two women, and that's the SmackDown Women's Championship. The champion, Sasha Banks, versus the challenger, the new Carmella, the one that's only in it for herself, and at least what she said in all of her promos. Some good promo work between the two of them. Some great builds. What do you think? Who do you got winning this one?
Sasha's gonna win, but I have been liking Carmella a lot. It's kind of a shame that they brought her back to lose to Sasha, kind of, but it's okay. Hopefully, after this, she like continues to do something of note and doesn't just like disappear again, or like I don't know, get mixed into like a Natalia storyline or some nonsense. Like hopefully, she still matters after Sasha beats her.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Sasha Banks needs no, the Natalia thing. I was laughing at because that's funny. Because it's probably true.
It's probably true.
Bringing Carmella back to just lose to Sasha Banks is bad. I don't like it. They could have definitely done like Natalia to lose to Sasha Banks in this pay-per-view. And you would have been annoyed that Natalia got the shot, but I think you would rather that than like Carmella just losing to Sasha Banks like straight up.
It's just so hard because you can't get the belt off Sasha right now. Yeah. You can't. It's Asuka. It's the problem they have with the girls. But like you can't. You want to give Lacey Evans, you want to give these girls shots, but it's like the champion are always like, there's only like 4 good like talented women, so like the champion's always a monster.
Yeah, I think that Carmella needs to look really good in this match, like really good. to help her out. But I do agree with you. I don't think Sasha Banks can lose this match. And if for some reason they do decide to pull the trigger on Carmella, like, oh, newly returning, we really like the way she looks, what she's been doing, all that stuff that they would take into account. I mean, Sasha Banks just becomes a person that can't hold a title, which I think is the worst outcome out of all of this. You know what I mean? Like, oh, she held it again for a month and a half this time, and she didn't actually have a real feud. Like, she beat Bayley on SmackDown the week after she won it, and then she had Survivor Series where the title wasn't on the line, and then she lost it. Like, she defended it successfully once instead of 0 times this time. Like, that's the worst outcome out of all of this. Now, again, I think Carmella is kind of hurt by all of this, but I think that's the worst outcome of all of this. We can't take the belt off of Sasha Banks right now. All right, and then we have our 2 main title matches. We will start first on the Raw side, and that is Drew McIntyre, the current WWE champion, versus AJ Styles in a tables, ladders, and chairs match. Now, up until this point, all of these matches have been regular matches. Both of our championship matches will be TLC matches. For Roman and Drew, they hung the belt up high on Raw. I'm hoping they do the same thing with Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. But we'll start with Roman and Drew. I'm sorry. I keep saying Roman and Drew. We'll start with Drew and AJ. I know you want something to happen in this match, so I will let you have the floor. Go ahead. Tell us what you want to happen.
Listen, I like Drew. I think he's done a great job with the title. I think he's done a great job since WrestleMania during this pandemic time with no fans. Like, he's really stepped up, but we got to do something different. It's come to a point where Raw is not interesting to watch. Drew does not need the belt. Drew's a monster. He's a huge person. You can give him a compelling storyline with a Sheamus or a Keith Lee or someone else that does not involve the world title. Give the title to AJ. I don't love the idea of The Miz as champion either. I think AJ should win, but even The Miz is different. Like, Miz can come out and cut funny promos with Morrison, and which some people might not like because it is a world title. It's not supposed to be a joke, but I think he makes it work, like the comedy aspect, but he's also serious. When he's in the ring, he's compelling. He's interesting. He's credible. So I ultimately think Drew's going to win. I don't think they'll pull the plug on him at a TLC in December, but it's just, let's do something different. Just give AJ the belt.
Yeah, I'll be very interested to see who Drew's challenger is at Royal Rumble. I think it'll be big in telling what he's going to be doing for the rest of the build to the road to WrestleMania, because I feel like they want to keep the title on him till WrestleMania, but you're right. It's just Drew overcoming the odds that aren't really odds. Listen, if they do this match right, they can kill Drew with 4 guys and make it not matter at all. You know what I mean? Like you're right. Like, they could take the title off of Drew in a way where he would not be hurt, because The Miz and Morrison and AJ and Almost would be out there beating up beating up Drew McIntyre, and it just at a certain point the odds would be too much.
There are just cycles where you gotta change it up. He's had the belt now for almost 8 months, with the exception of the 2-week Randy period where it's ran its course, and that's okay. Like, he can win it back later on in his career. Obviously, it doesn't have to be a 2-time champion. It's just right now, with where the show is at, you got to change it up.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying. I think it's starting to get a little stale. But we will see what happens. I agree with you. I think that when the night's over, Drew McIntyre is still the WWE champion. But listen, the Money in the Bank is there to surprise us, so maybe we do get surprised. I don't, however, think AJ Styles walks out WWE champion. I think that's the least likely of the 3 scenarios right now. I can see AJ winning and The Miz cashing in on him if they want to do it like that. But that would be the only time where I would see The Miz winning that match.
Maybe Almost can thwart a Miz cash in and stand in front of AJ.
That would be cool. Are we saying that right? Is it Almost?
I think it's OMOS. Almost.
Not like almost, almost. Like the word without the T.
Yeah, there you go.
The Universal Championship match between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens is certainly should be the main event because it has been the best build by far of all the matches. Roman's so good. Kevin Owens is so good. What do you expect from this match? I think we both expect this championship to stay with Roman Reigns,
Yeah.
right?
Roman's going to retain, but it's going to be a sick match. It's going to be unbelievable. It's going to be screwy. Like, we know it's going to be screwy. It's not going to be clean. Like, Uso will get involved. There's going to be outside interference. It's going to be weapons. Obviously, it's a ladder match, but I think ultimately Roman retains in a way that keeps the feud going. I don't think this is a one-off. I think they will fight again at the Rumble probably. So that's what I'm thinking right now.
You know, it would be cool if DB ran it, like, okay, so they're fighting, right? And then all of a sudden here comes Jay, then DB runs in to save, and then Jimmy is now healthy, comes out and like helps things out and then tips the odds back in Roman's favor. I think that would be cool because it would be like, oh, like it's 2-on-2 and then boom, 3-on-2. So Jay's gotten this whole build of like how he could be the single star. And now if Jimmy came in and made the big impact and like helped Roman Reigns win, that would be good to, you know, one, establish more numbers for Roman Reigns. Two, reestablish them as a tag team, which SmackDown desperately needs.
Yeah, then you can have them fight the Street Profits for the belts and take them off them.
Yeah. So I think that would all be cool. But I agree with you. I think Roman leaves this pay-per-view as champion one way or another. It would be cool to see a whole match with just the two of them, you know? No run-ins from Jay. No run-ins from Daniel Bryan. I don't know if Daniel Bryan will necessarily run in for Kevin Owens. I think it's a possibility, but they don't have to do it.
It won't. It just won't be clean.
It can't be with Jay. I feel like you've just established Jay as this guy who needs to come in and like interfere in all of Roman Reigns' matches and then get beat up on SmackDown by Roman Reigns for coming in.
And Roman a little bit too now. Roman is the heel. He is the big bad heel. Like he low blowed Drew when the ref was down. Like that's what he's doing. He low blowed Jay. Like he's doing these things now to win. Where I think you look at Roman, you say he doesn't need to do this, but he is doing this. He's taking the shortcut out, and I think that's part of the story he's telling.
Yeah, and I think Kevin's going to come out, guns blazing too. He's always good at being like that furious, angry person when he comes down the ramp. So I'm really interested to see how this one goes because this should be the best match on the card. Will it actually be the best match on the card? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I think it probably will, but we'll see. You know, AJ Styles and Drew McIntyre are two world talents, so it's not out of their own possibility they pull out a great match. Sasha Banks and Carmella, we know Sasha Banks can go. We've seen Carmella do great things before. And then Randy Orton and The Fiend. So, I mean, when you look at star power on this card, the top four matches are, they're as good as it's going to get from a month-to-month pay-per-view. I think where we're sour is the storytelling, right? It's not the talent, it's the storytelling that has been a little sour. But that being said, I'll go in with an open mind because, like I said, the bottom four matches on that card are all matches WrestleMania worthy, except for maybe Carmella and Sasha Banks. But I'm just excited to see Carmella back in the ring, so it is exciting. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for us here. If you think we were completely wrong on or off on something, let us know in the comment. Let us know who you think are going to win these matches, but don't comment after Sunday. That wouldn't be fair. Don't know and then comment. We could see the timestamp.
Yeah, for sure.
You worried about that, Mark?
No, I'm not that worried about that. But solid show here. We did our previews. We'll review it and we'll kind of take our first leap towards Royal Rumble next week.
Yes, and next week we will, like you said, we'll be reviewing the TLC pay-per-view.
Maybe I'm very surprised. Maybe I come on next week and be like, wow, that was a good show. I doubt it, but like maybe. That's the hope. That is the hope. So yeah, we'll review TLC next week and we will talk about kind of what's happening on the Go Home Show, SmackDown, on Raw the day after, see if they start mentioning the Royal Rumble or if they wait till after the holidays. And then the week after that, we are going to be fantasy booking WrestleMania. So we have a bunch of stuff to do. The year's coming to an end, 2020. Lots going on. Our content is not coming to an end anytime soon. So nice. All right. Thank you guys for watching. As always, if you like the video,
if you'd like to subscribe, that would be awesome. We'd love that.
What? Your volume went out. All right. Thank you.